Yo, y'all smell that? Yo, smell like money in this joint, y'all. What's good, family? It's your boy Sykes, and you are looking live at another episode of Special Delivery, where today we have New Balance's brand new Kawhi 2. That's right, number 2 on Kawhi Leonard's signature shoe line with New Balance. And I gotta say, y'all, straight out of the Randy Moss playbook, these joints is straight cash, homie.
When you rich, you don't write checks.
If you don't write checks, how do you pay these guys?
Straight cash, homie.
That's so corny. I can't believe y'all let me get that off. But look, for real, these joints is like literal money, y'all. Like, they look like a $100 bill. And that's no coincidence, because this is the new money colorway of the Kawhi 2, which is actually a play on the Kawhi 1 new money colorway that we saw on this shoe's predecessor. So I think it's really cool that they're sort of continuing this theme with this new model. But all of that aside, this shoe is kind of weird. The timing is sort of weird, because Kawhi Leonard ain't playing basketball right now. And this is the first time that we're seeing the Kawhi 2. So the question is, why would New Balance debut the Kawhi 2 right now when there's no Kawhi Leonard? We gonna dive into that today, but before we get into it, y'all already know what it is. We gotta unbox these things, so let's do it. All right, let's see what Kawhi talking about, y'all. Let's see. Ooh, cha-ching. Ooh. It's your fault, bro. You should never look like. Bro, I got to, bro. It's money, bro. It's the money. Okay, this joint really looks like a real C note, y'all. Like, this looks like a $100 bill. It's pretty crazy, man. Like, yo, so all right, just from the vibe of the colorway, right? Like, you got this whole bluish green tint to it that matches the color of that $100 bill that this is supposed to be emulating, right? And so the entire upper is actually made out of this synthetic material that New Balance has called Fit Weave Light. And this is actually a material that you typically see in their soccer cleats. So it's kind of weird that it's in a basketball shoe. It's supposed to provide the wearer with a little bit more flexibility, which actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. But it's just, again, like, this is typically what they give you in a soccer cleat. So it's kind of weird to see it here. And you see on the top, this is all just sort of one piece, right? There's no stitching that sort of puts it together as far as the upper goes. And then moving on to the tongue, you see you got a lot of cushion actually right here. It's not that same synthetic material that you have on the upper. It's supposed to give the wearer a little bit more of that cushion, a little bit more comfort on the top of their foot. Go to the top of the tongue here, you see you got that $100 bill symbol right here, or I guess it's just a 100. It actually has the dollar print inside of it, which I think is pretty cool. And then moving on to this heel area, you can actually see that you have pieces of the Declaration of Independence inscribed into this sneaker, which is like, that's crazy. Like, but it again goes back to this whole money theme. Like, this thing really looks like a dollar bill. You got that blue line in the back of the heel, like you would have on a $100 bill. You go down, you see you got this gold plate right here for the New Balance that gives you a little bit more contrast to the sneaker, right? And then you go to the outsole, you see in this forefoot area, in this heel area, you got a little bit more of a translucent look to it. And then right here, you got some fuel cell material. In this midfoot area, you also got that on the outsole of the sneaker. But going back to the midfoot part right here, you can actually see that there are some symbols in here that look a little weird. It's like, it's kind of weird. It comes out of nowhere when you're looking at the shoe, but these are actually symbols that represent these astrological bodies, these celestial bodies, I guess I should say. And if you take a look at the box right here, you can actually see them in Kawhi's hand right here, which is pretty crazy. I really don't know what these mean, or I guess why they're included in the sneaker, but they're here, and I'm guessing they have something to do with the Kawhi 2 at large and not necessarily just this model right here. So I guess we'll find out, but that was a pretty cool Easter egg to find when taking a look at the sneaker. But there you have it, folks. This is the new money Kawhi 2. Like, this thing really looks like a $100 bill. It's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, this is just a really creative design, but it doesn't quite answer our question still, right? Which is, if Kawhi Leonard's not playing basketball right now, then why would New Balance drop a Kawhi Leonard signature sneaker? And to begin to understand the answer to that question, I think we have to talk a little bit about why Kawhi Leonard is out in the first place. So let's dive into that. So if you look at their history together, it's pretty clear that New Balance has never had a problem taking their time with Kawhi Leonard. They signed him in 2018 as this all-star talent who was supposed to return them to the promised land in the signature shoe game, and that's exactly what he did. He won a title with the Toronto Raptors, and then in 2020, he got his very first signature shoe with New Balance. And now, fast forward to 2022, he gets his second with New Balance, the Kawhi 2, and that shoe actually just dropped last weekend. But that's still kind of surprising to me because, once again, Kawhi Leonard's not playing basketball. I mean, he tore his ACL in last season's playoffs with the Clippers when they were playing the Utah Jazz, and he hasn't played basketball since, and he's probably not going to play basketball this season. Now, look, there have been rumors that he could possibly come back. We've seen him warming up. We've heard about him getting shots up with the Clippers. We've heard about him practicing a little bit, but it just doesn't really feel likely at this point, with the playoffs being so close for the Clippers and that being such a big moment for any franchise. So that once again begs the question, why would you drop this sneaker right now if you're New Balance? And I think the answer that we're looking for actually lies in the timeline that we just talked about. It feels like New Balance and Kawhi do things every other year, right? So sign him in 2018, first signature shoe in 2020, second in 2022. That's clearly a laid out schedule that they had plans for, and that makes sense when you think about the development of a sneaker. For sneakers that come out often, plans can be up to a year and a year and a half in advance, but conservatively, it could be a year and a half to 2 years and maybe even more in advance that you have to come up with these plans. It takes a lot to drop a shoe. I mean, you have to design the sneaker, you have to create the mold for it, you have to actually build it out, and then you have to actually come up with a distribution plan, and all of that takes a lot of time. That's not even talking about complications that you could have with your factories and things of that nature. And New Balance has some of these things already in place within their infrastructure, but still, there's a lot of time and a lot of care that go into these plans. And so when you think about that and how far in advance these things have to come together, it makes sense that New Balance would just continue to push this thing out even without Kawhi playing basketball right now. I mean, they don't really need him to necessarily be there to push this sneaker out. Now, I guess you could argue that it would still be 2022 later this year when the next NBA season starts and Kawhi should be playing basketball again, but I don't really think New Balance think they needed to wait that long for Kawhi to come back to push this shoe, and they have really good reason why. Let me explain. So I've talked about this a lot on this show, and I'm kind of tired of talking about it, but I have to keep talking about it because it's the honest truth. And that truth is that people just don't really care that much about signature basketball shoes anymore. It just doesn't really move the people the way that it used to. It's not the same vibe that we had back in the 90s. And look, that's not to say that there are no good signature basketball shoes out there. I think there definitely are, and we've had a number of them on this show. And this pair, it's pretty good itself, but this just isn't what really moves the people anymore. And look, that's not to say that New Balance doesn't need to see Kawhi Leonard in these at some point, or that we don't need to see Kawhi Leonard in these at some point. We absolutely do, but you know what else New Balance really wants to see? Kawhi Leonard in that Joe Freshgoods collection in the NBA 75th anniversary commercial. Because that's what the people really care about. They care about the lifestyle, they care about the fashion, not necessarily the performance. The performance isn't going to really improve them at all, but they can definitely show off those new kicks to you, those new fresh Joe Fresh Goods joints to you. That's just kind of the vibe today. That's really just what it is. And if we're being completely honest about the athlete's role in this, they're as much models these days as they are professional athletes. These guys are essentially walking billboards for these brands that are meant to sell us all of these hype clothes, and that's kind of just what they do. So honestly, just keeping it a buck, the signature shoe, what it is these days, is really just a bonus to everything else, and that just kind of is what it is. That's how the game is played. But anyway, family, that's a wrap for Special Delivery. I'm your boy Sykes, and this is Kawhi Leonard's brand new money Kawhi 2. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Special Delivery. Make sure you like and subscribe to catch future episodes of Special Delivery. And in the comment section, be honest, man. Let us know if you care about signature sneakers. For real. Be real with us.